Angelica Turner with Elizabeth Craft Designs here. Welcome to my 12 Flowers of Christmas. I will be creating 12 different Christmas themed projects with each with a different flower. Um, I will be doing them, I will be breaking it down in two different videos. Video one will have 6 projects, video two will have the other 6 projects. So let's get started. I will be making 12 different tags. So here for my first tag, I am using the 2084 Florals 24, which is the poinsettia, 2187 Autumn Fancy Corners. And for the tags, every single tag will be the same size, the 1998 nested tags, and I'm using the third size, so this medium size right here. I'm using that tag for all of them. I will be using, for this particular one, for my first tag, I am using the Holly Jolly Christmas paper tag. And so here is the tag already cut out of pattern paper. I inked the edges with the Rustic Wilderness Distress ink. And I also have here a one of the little branches of the holly leaves cut from pattern paper. Also inked the edges with the same color. 2 of the fancy corners cut from green cardstock. 2 of the florals, the poinsettias, cut from red cardstock. And then that little centers I got from gold cardstock. And so let's go ahead and put this together. This is, I think, probably my easiest or simplest tag. That's it. It's not, I wanted to use the flowers just flat with no dimension or no shaping. So I'm going to go ahead and glue my reinforcer for the tag. And then I'm going to go ahead and glue these two together where they overlap a little bit. Right there. And they form this decorative little frame. I'm just going to put a little bit right in that center piece and overlap them. So you can see they perfectly align on the corners. So there is our little frame, and that is going to sit right here. My idea was to put the flower, the poinsettia, framed, and then use the little flowers or these little leaves. So then use the holly leaves behind it. I think I'm going to end up cutting them, separating them to place them, and going to glue this flat on the um, tag, just with a little bit of glue here and there, so it secures well to the tag, and then centered like that. Okay, and then my flowers, I am going to use foam dots for that. So I'm going to put a couple of foam dots to pop them, and I think I can cover them well with these centers once I put the centers. I'm going to put it off to one side, not centered. There we go. And the next one on this, and making sure I rotate my petals so they don't end up aligned. There we go. I think this is a nice rotation. And then going to put the gold centers. And this is, as you can see, fairly simple. Doesn't require all the shaping. going to kind of fold these ones a little bit so they raise a little bit more than the first one, and then also rotating them. Okay, so there's our poinsettia, and then our little holly leaves. I'm going to trim this one a little bit more. A little bit of glue on the back. And place that. Nope, they are still a little bit too long. Like that. And the bottom ones, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to separate them and then put one on each side. So there's a nice, better balance in the design. So here, those two leaves. And here we go. We'll get this garbage out of the way. Here's the first tag. Quick, simple, um, Christmas tag. You can stamp a set. You can stamp Merry Christmas here. You can put a little separate like little tag, little label on it with the sentiment. You can write a little message on the back if you want to. You can use this on your Christmas gifts, or you can put it on a Christmas card as well. So here is tag number one. Okay, so I have everything here for tag number two. For this one, I am using the Joyous Christmas paper collection. I am going to make my main flower with the 2116 Florals 27. I'm also using the 2151 Florals 29. I'm going to be using the holly leaves from this one. 2089, the pine cones, I'm using the little pine branch here. 2088 Floral Greenery 1, I'm going to be using the berries branch. The 2123 Elegant Decorative Box, I am using one of the frames. I'm using the oval frame from that one. And of course, the 1998 nested tags, the third tag in the set. So those are my dies that I'm using. And I'm going to start by coloring my flower and shaping it, putting that together so that it dries while I put the rest of the stuff together. So for the color, I'm using the Fire Break Distress ink and just a little blending brush, and I'm going to color the backside first, and I'm just coloring over the whole thing. I'm using the soft finish cardstock for this flower, and then blending my color. As you can see, I'm concentrating my darkest color in the center of the flower and then blending it off to the tip where it's a little bit lighter in color. And that's the coloring for our flower, and I already did that with all my other flowers. Let me get this out of the way. And here I'm using total of 5 flowers, so 3 of the medium size and then 2 of the next size down. For the shaping, I'm just going to take a stylus and kind of run it on the back side from the tip to the center just a few times. Okay, and then turn it over and run it down the center so that flower kind of curls up. And then I'm going to just kind of run it around the edge a little bit to soften the cardstock. Okay, and then with my tweezers, I'm just going to curl these edges a little bit more. I'm going to make this a red rose. I know, a red rose on a Christmas tag, but when you look at all the different floral arrangements they make for the holidays, they use all kinds of flowers. It's just the way they arrange them and what they use for the floral arrangement for that flower. They use the berries, they use the pine branches, just to give it that Christmas holiday feel. Okay, so here, this is the process I use to shape all my other flowers. So I already have all the others shaped. Now let's go ahead and glue them together. And actually, let me finish for the center, or the little bud that is going to go in the center of the flower, I used one of the smaller ones and softened the paper a little bit. And then with my tweezers, I'm just kind of curling it up. So all three of them. So we're going to have the tightest curl in the center. And then this ones will be around it like that. See if you can see there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and glue all of these together. Again, this is the center of my flower, my rose. So these are slightly smaller. So this is going to be the next one. And then we do the next one. You can do this gluing with your favorite adhesive. You can use hot glue. I find that I like to use mostly wet glue, or instead of hot glue, sometimes the hot glue just kind of dries on me too quick and I don't have enough time to get the flower in the right position. So let's do the next layer. Again, always making sure you offset your petals. You don't want them all lined up. So always offset your petals. And then the last one. And then I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of the uh, pieces here. Okay, so for the leaves, for the tag, I have cut out of the pattern paper, ink the edges with some of the, let me see where I left my ink for that color. Ice spruce, I used to ink the edges of the tag, as well as some of this color on the leaves. The leaves are also cut from the sub-finished cardstock, so I colored them with the ice spruce and the rustic wilderness. So those two colors for the leaves. For the pine branches, I just cut these out of green cardstock, kind of a olive color. This one I cut out of brown cardstock, and then the little berries I cut from glitter cardstock. And then this frame in the reinforcer I cut from I think it's brushed metallic rose gold color mirror cardstock or metallic cardstock. It's a pretty color. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and give the leaves just a little bit of dimension. Not, doesn't take a lot to shape these leaves. So shape those ones real quick, and then all of these, I'm just going to run my stylus down the center from the tip to the base of each branch. See how fast that kind of curls up? Again, we don't need a lot of dimension on this one. So I just don't want them completely flat on my project. So let's go ahead and glue, start putting together the tag while the rose kind of dries. Reinforcer to match the frame, and this is the frame from the where's my from the decorated box. It's one of the frames in that set, and it fits perfectly within the tag size. So let's see if this is good where I can handle it. I think that will work. So I'm going to want to do this one, and I think I'm going to have to cut this apart. And then my set of holly leaves, and then this ones. Okay, so let's go ahead and glue our frame down on our tag. I'm just kind of centering it to the side, to the tag itself. Okay, let's see if make sure I align it, that it's not kind of off to one side. Okay, I think that's good. Okay, I think that's good. Okay, then our rose. And I'm going to go ahead and cut these apart so it's easier to arrange them on the tag itself. And I do want a good amount of that greenery, so I am using two of the both branches. And then these ones, I am going to cut them apart as well, I think. Again, so that I can kind of have a better placement, the different little branches. Let me just kind of fix this one. Okay, so I think that's good. Okay. And then we are going to have these ones kind of tucked under the rose. I think once I glue the rose down, I'm going to work on it a little bit to get it just looking right. Let's make sure that I get these ones underneath the rose before it dries completely. There we go. Wrong tool. So we got a rose down. We got our holly leaves. Now we need to get all our little pine branches in place. Oh, I'm got stuck now. I'm going to separate this ones as well. Too long. Okay. Place that one right there. So you want to just kind of I always like placing my main flower or my focal flower in my arrangement and then building the arrangement around that flower. It's easier that way for me to have that focal flower in place and then just kind of tuck everything that I want with that flower around it. It just it seems that it works a lot for me. It feels it's easier to build the arrangement once I have that flower in place, and then I can just start tucking in all the different elements that will be part of that arrangement. And here's another one over here. Just tuck it in underneath this holly leaf. Okay, and then we have our little branches. See, where are they going to go? These are a little bit too long, so trim them a little bit. That one is good, and that one is good. So here's one of our little berry branches. Oops, that one came off. Get it in there again. There we go. Then we got this one. I'm going to place this one over here. I don't know why I keep grabbing the scissors instead of the tweezers. And then we got this one going over here. Okay, so here we go. A Christmas tag with a Christmas rose. We got our holly, we have our little pine branches, our little berries. Perfect for any Christmas special Christmas project. And this is tag number 2. Let's go on to tag number 3. Here we are on tag number 3. For this particular tag, I am using the Joyous Christmas paper collection. I am going to make my main flower from the 2099 Wildflower 4. I'm using the 2153 Holly Greenery, and I'm using the berry branch, and I'm using this pine needle branch, as well as the holly leaves. I'm using 2156 Joyous Ornaments ornament bale. So I'm going to use just a, decorative bale cut from gold cardstock. And again, the third tag in the set of the 1998 nested tags. So for my tag here, I use the this red and green pattern, and as you know, we always have the double-sided paper. I ink the edges of the tag with a fire break ink. For my florals, I'm using total of 3, 6, 7 layers here. With starting with the medium size flower, and then the next size down, and 2 of the next size down. So for these, I inked the center slightly with the ice spruce color. And so let me grab this right here and ink this center real quick, just to give it a little bit of a darker color. So just very, very lightly shaded. I don't know if the camera can catch that. There you go. So a little bit of shade on that. And I already did the shading and the shaping to all of the other flowers, just to get that out of the way and make this a little bit faster. So for the shaping on this one, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to spritz the flower on the back with a little bit of water to make the paper a little bit more pliable. And I'm just putting it on an old, kitchen towel. And then I'm just spritzing it with water. I make sure I do that so the paper doesn't absorb a lot of water. When you put it on a solid surface, it has a tendency of taking in um, a lot of water that sits around the cardstock on that on that hard surface. So I like to do it on the paper on a towel, so that way it just uh, and to keep my area dry. So I'm taking a medium size stylus and doing a couple of marks, or running my stylus on the back of each petal a couple of times from the tip to the center. Then I'm going to turn it over and run it another time on the center, on the front of each petal. And that's just to help me break down the cardstock. Now I'm just taking my fingertips and I'm just kind of, with those uh, markings on each petal, it helps me kind of crimple each petal. I know it kind of doesn't look really good right now, but I'm hoping it turns out good. So here I'm just kind of folding and crinkling my paper on each petal. And then I'm going to just kind of help it I'm just going to do that. So that's what it's going to look at the end of your shaping it. Get this out of the way. So I'm going to put this aside for a little bit so it dries, and I need to give these leaves a little bit of dimension. And just a little bit. I did add a little bit of shading. These are cut out of green cardstock, and then I added a little bit of shading with Rustic Wilderness green distress ink, just to give them a little bit more dimension. And I'm going to just fold them. I'm not sure right now if I want to cut them apart. And then I'm just going to run one of the larger tips on the branches here, the pine branches, and just kind of go from the tip to the center of that branch to help all of those little pieces kind of raise up a little bit so they're not too flat. So that's that. So that's the shaping for those. And then I have my bell here, my reinforcer cut out of the gold match. I have a branch I cut twice and out of brown cardstock, glued them together, and then I glued down some metallic red microbeads instead of doing the die cuts, the die cut of the berries. I just did the microbeads instead, red microbeads. Okay, so let's see. I think this is pretty feels dry now. And if for some reason you got a little bit too much water on them, you can always just take a heat gun to it and dry it real quick. But it feels, you know what, I think I'm going to do that because I want to make sure that it's completely dry before I glue it. Okay, that's good. And here is the result. I'm just kind of loosening it up a little bit. And here is what my flowers. So I have all of these flowers already colored and shaped ahead of time. And I'm going to go ahead and layer them all together. Now I want these to look like kind of a carnation. I don't know if you have seen, they use I have seen a lot of those Christmas floral arrangements with white carnations, and then they put all the different, winter greenery or other florals with them. So I wanted to kind of replicate that, a white carnation with some winter greenery, and see how it looks as a Christmas arrangement on a tag. So I'm just putting a little bit of glue on the center of each flower. And I think I missed, are these the same size? Oh, these are the same size, sorry. A little bit of glue on the center of each flower, layer it on top in the center, and then making sure that I'm offsetting each layer. So it looks like a fuller flower when you offset it. Okay, I still have two of these small ones. So these ones, again, I already added a little bit of shading in the center and did all the shaping ahead of time, but I used the same shaping technique for all of these flowers. Offset your flower. I'm just going to press it and kind of lift all of those petals, and voila. That turned, actually, I think I'm pretty happy with the way it looks. Okay, so now let's go ahead and put together the tag. The gold reinforcer to kind of coordinate with the gold on the bell. Let's see how I'm going to, where I want my placement here. Okay, and these. Okay, so I think it's going to have to come down a little bit from the top. So closer to the bottom edge of that tag, so we can fit the flower arrangement nicely on top of the bell. And just putting a little bit of glue here and there on the back. These are intricate, and usually a lot of times they take a little bit of time to, but we don't need a lot of glue. It's just going to be flat on the tag. Okay, here is, so this is going to sit right on top of our holly little leaf trio here. And then this is going to sit off to one side of the bale, like this. Make sure I'm pressing it good so it's secured to that cardstock pattern paper. Okay, so now that we have that, I'm going to uh, cut these apart and see if I, so we can just tuck them in around our flower again. Because our flower is our main focal point on the arrangement, I like to glue that first and then tuck in all of these little branches around it to have to create the arrangement. Then these ones, so let's go ahead and glue these down. And this way, you know, you don't have to just use one flower like poinsettia for Christmas projects. I mean, you can use any flower for pretty much anything. You know, you just shape them differently, different colors. You arrange them with different leaves, different greenery, different branches, or and that gives you a complete different flower. So here is our all our little branches, and then our berry branch. Again, I'm going to cut it apart so we can tuck it in around our arrangement, since it's a one big branch and it doesn't fit with this arrangement because it's smaller. So I want all of these individual branches to kind of tuck in underneath or around the flower. Just kind of placing them right now to get a better feel to where they will go. Trimming some of the excess. So we have a fairly long one here. I think I'm going to use this one down here. I'm going to cut some of that excess at the base and then tuck it in like that. Another one over here. And then we have these ones over here on this side. Hey, I think I like how that looks. And you got your basic or your um, Christmas colors. You got your green, you got white, you got your red, and then you got that gold as well. So it makes for a very pretty uh, Christmas tag. And you used a different flower for it. There's that one. That, and I think we have one more here that is not glued yet. Nope. And that one. And again, you just tuck it in around the flower. Make sure it's down good. Trying to make sure they're all nice and glued down. There's our flower. And here is tag number 3 with a completely different flower that you probably we wouldn't normally think of using for a Christmas tag or a Christmas project, but it's something different. So here is tag number 3, and we can go on to number 4. Hi, so here we are, tag number 4. So for my florals on this tag, I'm using the 2088 Floral Greenery 1. I'm going to be using the white little flowers. I'm using also the 2089, the pine cones. 2021 Elegant Decorative Frame. I'm using the centerpiece right here. Again, the 1998 nested tags, the middle tag. And I'm using the CS359 flower centers number 2, and I'm using the small center, this one right here, for my flowers. And you can see them here. I stamped them with a brown walnut stay ink, and then added a little bit of shading in the center. And I am using for the paper, I'm using the Holly Jolly Christmas paper. Okay, so here is my tag cut from the pattern paper. And what I did is I inked the edges with the walnut stain distress ink. And then I came back and used the vintage gold wax from Prima and added with just my fingertip around the edges, and then just kind of added it, rubbed my fingertip all over the paper just to give it a bit more of an aged look. And you can see some of the shimmer from the gold wax on the paper. I also used the wax. Again, this is the center from the decorative frame, this piece right here. I cut it and then I used the tag and came back and cut the tag shape because I wanted it to fit perfectly on top of the tag like this. So for this one, I did go and ink the edges again with the walnut stain distress ink, and then using my fingertip, I added a touch of that vintage gold wax around the edges, and then a little bit here and there throughout all over the pattern paper. So I did that. Where's my little, I cut the little reinforcer from gold cardstock. Okay, so let's go ahead and add some glue to the back of the decorative die here. I'm just going to add mostly on the tips right here on the edges. Um, this is cut from pattern paper from the paper pad, and this one is actually the uh, design on the back of the cover for that paper pack. That's why this design is all like that. Um, but you can cut this from your favorite cardstock, this pattern paper, mirror cardstock. They all work wonderful for this shape. And just a little bit here in the center, make sure everything gets secured. I glued the die cut down on the tag and it fits perfectly. So now I'm going to go ahead and glue the reinforcer like that. Okay, and now for the florals. I cut a couple of different sizes, the large one and medium, from white soft finish cardstock, as well as the smallest one in the set. I stamped these flower centers with the walnut stained ink, and for the small ones, I just did a little bit of shading in the center. So I'm going to go ahead and I already shaped most of the flowers. I just have a couple of them here to do a quick demo on the shaping. So for this one, for the larger one, I'm just going to go on the back of each petal. As you can see, I'm just taking my stylus from the tip of the petal towards the center. And then once I turn it over, I'm going to go with a smaller size and then just pull it in one time in the center of each petal and pull it in into the center of the flower. Very basic. And then for the smaller ones, I'm going to go ahead and use the smallest, this small tip on my stylus, and I'm using 2 mats. I want the extra thickness, and I'm just going to just kind of press straight in into each petal on the back to curl them. And then I'm going to flip over the little flower and press in into the center to give it the final dimension. So that's how I shipped all the flowers. Okay, so for all my additional pieces, I put together a couple of the pine cones, cut them from brown cardstock, and shade them a little bit with a walnut state ink, and then I added a little bit of that gilding wax to the edges, just to catch some of that the texture on the cardstock. I did the same thing with the other one. I for these little branches, I did, if I can get them untangled, I did add some distress ink in the center and then came back over that and added the wax as well so that you can see a little bit of shimmer from the gold there. And on this ones, I did add a little bit of the distressing ink, the walnut state ink, on the branch right here in the center. And then on the tips of each little pine needle, with my fingertip, I came back in with the wax, the gold wax, and added a little bit of that pretty gold attached to the tips of the pine needles. Okay, so what I was thinking of doing here, and I'm going to go ahead and layer these flowers. I'm going to layer the two large ones on top of each other, and I'm going to offset my petals like this. And then I'm going to do the same thing with these ones. I'm going to do two and two. Like that, layer on top of each other. Okay, so now that I have my little flowers layered, so I have two flowers layered here, let's see how we are going to do this arrangement. So we have the pine cones that I want kind of right here. And then we have all of these little branches. So I'm going to go ahead and separate or cut these apart so I have more control of where they're going to go in the arrangement. Okay, and I think I'm going to do one right here. Now the flowers, that. I think I want this one over here on this side. And then of course this one's, I'm going to separate this one as well. I'm just going to put that one there, maybe that one here. And then all of these branches are also going to be separated. So again, to make it easy to um, arrange them around the florals. I'm just using my fingertips to give these a little bit of a shape so they're not completely flat on my project. Let's cut these ones apart as well. And again, a little bit of shaping with my fingertips. Okay, so I'm going to cut this apart here. So everything is single. And this one. Okay, again, just a little bit of shaping with my fingertips here, make it easier instead of finding the tools. Here we go. Okay, so we have the flowers, and then I just want to see how these ones will work. Arrangement. Okay, so I think what I need to do is find exactly where I want the pine cones to go, glue those down, and then start gluing all the other elements around the pine cones. Since the pine cones are going to be kind of between the pine cones and the flowers, they're going to be more of the focal point. And I want them to be closer to the upper left corner. So I'm going to do this. and then my flowers like that, but I'm not going to glue those flowers until I can lay this, tuck this, all these leaves in. Okay, so a little bit of glue on the branch, and then just tuck it in right there. Same thing with this one over here. Get a little bit of shaping with my fingertips. Going to, I think I want this one a little bit over the pine cone, like that. So you have that arrangement. Then I think I want these ones over here. Again, just a little bit of glue on the branch, and then just tuck them right here. Okay, and then I got two more little branches over here. Some glue on this one, and then that way. And this one, we'll go ahead and tuck it over here on this side. So that kind of gives us the start of our arrangement. Now our flowers, that aside, I'm thinking of using that one. And let's go start with our largest branches. See if I can tuck it in right here. Actually, I think it's going to be there. And also just a little bit of glue on the center of that branch. Okay, flower. This one, I think I'm going to go ahead and get it underneath. There we go. On that side, underneath this branch. Okay, then I got this one. I'm going to put this one right here. Just a matter of kind of working in each layer, each little individual item into place, and building your arrangement once you have your main or focal items in place. Again, I'm not going down the flowers here just because there's going to be all these little branches that are going to go in there or underneath the flowers, or so I'm going to wait until I get everything else in there. Usually I do kind of lay down the flowers, glue the flowers down in this case because I have the pine cones already down. That gives me kind of the start of the arrangement. So I'm going to go ahead and keep building all my little branches in, and then I will do the flowers last in this case. That. Okay, let's see, I think I want over here. And then I'm going to tuck some of these smaller ones behind the light green branches just to give it a little bit more layering. These ones are a little bit too long. Just little by little, build an interesting uh, arrangement on your tag. Something pretty, has the feel of a Halloween tag or a Christmas tag, but using other flowers and other uh, yeah, other florals as your focal pieces. That, oh, I think I need, oh, yep, it's good right there. Get it right underneath that. Okay, it keeps moving on me. There we go. Okay, got more. Let's see if this one will fit over here. Oh, maybe down here. Yep, just got this part off so I can tuck it in a little bit better underneath the other leaves. And give it that nice arrangement all the way to that corner of the tag. Okay, so now for the florals, let's go ahead and glue them in place. And then we have these teeny ones that are going to kind of just tuck in here and there around the arrangement. Okay, press those ones down good. Same thing with this one. And then the third one. And again, I use the large and the medium size here for these three larger flowers. And then the small ones is the smallest flower in the set. Okay, so let's see these teeny ones. Just tuck it in right next to that icon. Next one is going to put it in here. Now, if you ask me what is this flower name? I have no idea. I'm horrible about floral flowers and names and all that stuff because, well, I can keep paper flowers alive. I cannot keep real flowers alive. I'm really bad. I don't have a green thumb. Um, I am really bad with plants, and I do have some, and they are actually alive. They've been alive for a while, but I'm just not that good about gardening and plants and keeping them alive. So I tend to go to stay with the paper ones. Okay, so here is our little flowers. And I am going to put some adhesive pearls in the centers of these. These are gold, so I think they'll be a good combination, a good color, especially because we have the gold of the wax and the gold of the little reinforcer, which is kind of pretty much covered up by the arrangement. So I'm just going to put a small one, not too big, because I want to be able to see the detail of the stamped centers. So I'm just going to do a small one in the center of each of these three flowers. Then these teeny ones, if I can get it, on the centers of these small flowers. They have adhesive already on them. I don't know if it will last. I might have to come back and put on some glue later, or liquid glue, to make them secure them on the center of that flower for good. But this one does not want to come off my finger. Okay, that's that one. Two more. That's that one. And the last one. Oh, it's stuck to the petal, not the center. These things are so teeny that, oh my goodness, I just lost it. Oh, there it is. There we go. Let me find something to press them that is a little round. Okay. And by pressing the pearls, I kind of flatten my flowers. But here you go. This is tag number 4. I'm really happy how it turned out. And I love the little shimmer, hint of shimmer from the wax. So tag number 4 is done. Let's go on to number 5. Here we are, tag number 5. So for this one, my focal flower is going to be the 2117 Rose 28, and I want to create kind of a hydrangea style little flower arrangement, and of course then with all the Christmas theme little pine branches and holly leaves and stuff like that. I'm going to use the 2089 pine cones. I'm using this branch right here, the 2153 holly greenery. I'm using this branch and this one as well as the holly leaves. I don't fancy frames. I'm using the centerpiece right here, which I cut out of red glitter cardstock. Very sparkly. And then I'm using the 2101 frames and elements. I'm using the bow, also cut of red glitter cardstock. Tags, 1998 nested tag number 3 in the set, or the third, the middle tag, and then the Joyous Christmas paper collection. So I cut my tag out of the paper collection with this pretty design with the different ornaments, the bells, the stars. I inked the edges with ice spruce distress ink. And I'm going to have this piece go centered, glued center in the middle of the tag. And I think what I want to do first is go ahead and shape the last flower, the one flower I have here. I already went ahead and shaped all of these tiny little flowers. This is I believe it's not the smallest size, but it's the next size up from the smallest. Yes, so this is not the smallest of the set. It is the next size up. And you can, it depends if you want to make it smaller or larger. I mean, you can always use, go from there depending on what size your arrangement or your project is. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm using 2 mats here because I want the extra thickness. And I'm just going to press on the back of each petal. And as you can see, I'm pressing, but I'm also slightly moving my stylus from the tip to the center of each petal. And then with the smallest tip on my stylus, I am going to just press straight down into the center. And with double mat or the extra thickness, you can really just press down in there and then you get something like that. So I went ahead and shaped all my flowers that way. And I'm going to add a little bit of dimension to my leaves here before we start putting them or placing them into the arrangement. I'm just running the stylus a little bit through the center. And then this one, I think I want a larger stylus for that one, so it's a little bit easier. Okay, so for these ones, I'm going to use a larger tip, and I'm just going to go from the tips to the base of uh, each branch to get some of those needles or pine needle branches to just get a little bit of dimension on them. So far, I have 4 of them. I don't know if I'm going to be using them all. I just wanted to have plenty ready um, for the process. And I'm also adding a little bit of dimension on each branch on these ones. Again, I'm just going from the tip of each branch to the base, to the center, and just kind of, so they curl up a little bit. Okay. And for my bow, I'm just going to do this a little bit on the back. And I have 2 of those, but I don't think I just need 1. Okay. Okay, so let's see now. And I have my reinforcer here that I cut from the red glitter cardstock as well. Glue that to my tag, and then I'm just going to do some glue all around the edge of this decorative frame or decorative panel, and then just a little bit here in the center. Okay, and then I'm just going to go ahead and glue this, and then let me go ahead and glue the bow here because it's going to probably require some time to dry. So now for this particular branch, I went ahead and cut two of them together, glued them together, and to make it a little bit thicker and sturdier. And then I did glue, instead of cutting the berries from glitter cardstock, I just did glue and did gold micro beads on them. So that is that little branch. Okay, so let's see how we're going to, I think I'm just going to separate these leaves here, because I'm not sure how we are going to arrange them on the so I think I want to start with one of these and one of these down, and then on top of that start building the flower arrangement with the tiny little flowers. I'm going to glue that in place so it gives me a placement of where I want to go ahead and start placing my flowers. And again, there goes the glitter issue, that but there's areas that are gluing directly on the paper. I also need to place some of these down first. Over here as my base before I place my bow. Oh, this is the cardstock. This glitter cardstock is gorgeous, but it is a little difficult for gluing. Which, you know, if you're not having to stay on a time, or you know, you don't have time constraints, it's different. But when you are having to put things together and keep it on a certain time constraint, then it's just it becomes a little difficult. Okay, so I got my green base right there. I need another one. Yeah. And then a smaller one over here, and then this one. That will give a good base for flowers to sit, and for the bow also to stand out from the red of the background decorative die cut, because we don't want that's one of the things that I was worried about when I was cutting all of this, and I really wanted the bow out of the red, but I wanted that red die cut as well, that I was worried about the bow kind of disappearing or blending a little bit too much with that decorative die cut, because it's red as well. So I still have all of these branches that I'm going to work into this arrangement. So let's put this one on that upper right hand side, tucked in behind the pine needles, and see if we can get this to work. There we go. Just kind of to the side. And now these ones I'm going to cut apart so it's easier to kind of layer them in there and tuck them in between the leaves, the other branches. Okay, so now for the flowers, let's see. We have to go in tightly, just kind of squeeze together. So I think I'm going to have to glue down the bow. Hopefully it stays down. And then build the flowers right above where the bow is sitting down. And of course it's sticking to my finger instead of the paper. Okay, let's see. Let's put another branch, another one of the pine needle branches in here. And let's do another one over here on this side. That way I kind of have that in place. Separate these ones and have them ready. Now let's see if we can start, see about starting the placement of the little flowers. Oh, the one thing I'm forgetting is this branch, but I don't think I'm going to be able to have the whole branch in one piece. So I am going to break it apart into several pieces and then go ahead and do different. Yeah. Okay, so let's start putting our flowers in place. Then once the flowers are set, then I can start, I can bring in more of the little pine needle branches as well as the little branch with the gold berries. Hopefully these little flowers stay. They keep lifting on me, so I didn't get, sometimes, with a glue gun, it's instant, but I didn't get it ready, so I'm just going to try to do this with liquid glue. Also, you have a little bit more time when getting the, if you have to move a flower, placement wise, if you have to like move it around and stuff like that, it's easier with a liquid glue. With a liquid glue because you have a little bit more time to maneuver the pieces. When you're doing it with hot glue, it's basically you put it down and it better be in the right place. So let's see here. I did shape a bunch of extra because I didn't know how many I actually was going to use. So let's see if hopefully I have enough for the whole arrangement. Maybe a few more just to make it a little bit larger. And again, I'm just kind of tucking them in a little bit in on the base of that, in the center, and then just getting them tucked in as close as possible to the previous flower. And it kind of, I get a little arrangement that looks like a small arrangement of hydrangea. So I think that's going to be good. Let me see how many other little uh, branches, or yeah, some of these little branches, how many more I need to put in here around the bow, just to give it a little bit more of that kind of a Christmas, winter, more of that winter flower arrangement feel, right? Because I do want to have that winter flower arrangement feel to it. good. And I think I'm going to need a few more up here at the top. See how that one works. Okay. Another one over here. The glitter paper always, it's a little difficult when gluing, but I think it's, there we go. And one more. And just kind of place it where they all kind of look like they are coming from the same kind of branch. Okay, so let's get these ones in place. Just kind of placing them around behind some of these arrangements. Okay, I think that's a good placement for them. Now it's a matter of tucking them in where they're actually going to get a nice glued nicely behind all those other branches. I don't have to worry about them falling off the tag. Okay, this one obviously was not fully glued, so it came off. Okay, go ahead and get some more glue on this one and place it. Oh, all those little branches sometimes get in the way when you're trying to tuck in things like this. But here we go. And then this large branch is going to be kind of the center of the arrangement right here. There we go. Perfect. Okay, I think here we go. Love the sparkle of that red. You got your red, your white florals, and all your different layers of green branches, pine needles, berry branches. And this is tag number 5. On to tag number 6. Hello, so here we are at tag number 6 of my 12 flowers of Christmas. So for this particular tag, I am going to start with my main focal flower, 2085 Florals 25. 2153 holly greenery, and I'm using the leaves and the pine branch as well as this little branch right here. 23 elegant decorative box. I'm using this decorative panel right here cut out of white cardstock. 2187 floral foliage 1. I'm using the little branches. This one's right here. Excuse me. And then of course the 1998 nested tags that in the middle, that tag number 3. And for the paper, I'm using the Holly Jolly Christmas paper collection. So I have my tag here cut out of the pattern paper. I inked the edges with Rustic Wilderness Distress ink to get rid of that white core. And I cut the panel from white cardstock. Now, this particular panel, this actually lines up perfectly to the size of the tag. So I'm going to go ahead and actually put these aside and first color and shape this flower so that we can let it sit aside after we shape it while we put together the other items or the other pieces. So let me find my brush here. So I'm using the Festive Berries Distress ink, and I'm going to color both sides, front and back, because of the way, and I already have all the other layers shaped because of the way I shape them. I want to make sure I don't see all that white cardstock on the back. So I'm making sure I'm coloring the back side right now. Just enough ink to cover that white cardstock, and then I am going to I'm starting the coloring from the edge of each petal, which where it's where I want to have my darkest color, and then just blend it in to the center. And just kind of blend your colors, you get a nice blended shade of red. Let me move this up to the side, and I'm going to go ahead and spray this one with a little bit of water because I want to be able to get all that dimension into the flower. See, this is the largest one, which is this size right here. See all these little curls and stuff, and it's easier to get that if the paper has a little bit of moisture in it. And I'm doing it on the back side because I don't want the color to get all that with all those little uh, drops of water on the front. So I am doing it on the back. This up to the side. I just need one. And then I'm going to need a couple of different sizes here. I'm going to start with this medium size. I'm just pulling in from the tip of each petal to the center of the flower. And as you can see, I'm putting a fairly good amount of pressure, and the paper holds very well. This is the soft finish cardstock from Elizabeth Craft Designs. So it holds really well, dry, wet, uh, for the shaping. So here is, again, I'm doing from the tip to the center, and I'm going to switch over to a slightly small, to a smaller size, and I'm going to pull in a few times on each, making a few lines on each petal, so that I get that extra curl, that extra dimension, especially on the edges. I really want to see all that curl and texture on the edges of those petals. Okay, now that I did that, I'm just pulling in a little bit from the tip. Okay, and because it's still a little moist, I'm going to put it off to the side, let it dry, while we take care of the rest of the uh, pieces for the tag. Let me just get this red ink off my fingers real quick, so I don't get it all over the rest of the pieces. So I'm going to go ahead and glue my uh, reinforcement piece to the top of my tag. And that's just white because I have the white decorative piece. And then this one, like I said, they actually completely align to the edges. So I'm going to go ahead and glue that piece to my tag. Just adding a bit of glue all around the edges. And aligning it to the bottom edge of my tag like that. Now, if I wanted to, I could make this actually, and it's already glued, but I could make this a pocket. So I could cut this out, put a piece of either vellum or transparency behind this, the same size, and then not glue this top part right here. And then you can actually use that as a pocket to put like a gift card, some money, or another little tag with a special message on that. So that would be a fun. I gotta make a note of that for something for a different project later. So yeah, you could use that as a little pocket. Here I have all the different branches that I want to use, as well as several little flowers. And actually I have one of these tiny little flowers. I already shaped all the others. Now for that red flower, that technique I used on the one that I just shaped, I used the same technique on all the different layers. And I have two of each size. So this is not the largest flower. It is the second, I believe. No, it is the largest. So the largest flower, two of the next size, two of the next size, and then two of the small size. Okay, so for this tiny one, I am going to go ahead and I have two mats laid on top of each other for the extra thickness. And I'm using a small tip, and I'm just pressing straight down into each petal on the back of the flower. and then turning it over and pressing straight in the center. Because of the double thickness, you can really press in there. The flower kind of gets sinks into the mat and you get a really nice shaped flower. I don't know if you can, they're so tiny, but there you go. So I got those. I already shaped these centers as well. These ones, I just put them on my mat and just kind of pressed in the center, and then you can also kind of squeeze them in between your fingers like that. So I have several of those out to the side over here. Okay, so let's see how we're going to do this arrangement. I have these little leaves. I'm going to go from one um, corner to the other. Okay, my focal flower is going to be this large red flower, and then I have my holly leaves, which I think I'm going to break apart so I can have a better it's easier for me to arrangement once I have that flower in place. Okay, I have some branches here. I have one branch already cut apart. These are centers for my flower and then some extra flowers there. Okay, so let's go ahead and glue these layers. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do all the layers. I might only do the largest, maybe two of each, like this one. And I'm making sure I'm overlapping or offsetting my petals so I get a better my flower looks more fuller, and then all my petals are offset. Same thing with a smaller size, offset my petals. Let's see if I can go ahead and do that one, and then the small. Okay, so I'm not going to be able to use those, but I'm using the two largest ones, the two medium ones. Just press it nice and tight in the center, and then one of the smaller size and the smallest size. So that is going to be my all my layers to my flower. In each layer, I'm making sure that I offset the petals. Same thing with the smallest size, offsetting the petals. Of course, this one doesn't want to cooperate and it's not turning around. There we go. Just press it down, make sure all the layers are nice. And I think they're a little bit too tighter, so I'm just kind of flatten them out a little bit. And then I want to put the flower center here. Not sure how many I'm going to get together. I cut a total of 5 of them, but I want them to have this tight uh, feel to them when I put them in the center of that flower. So I'm just going to layer them. I have 3 of them so far, and I've just put glue in the center and then just squeezing them, pressing them in between my fingertips. Let me see how that looks with just the 3. I think I like that. So then glue in the center and then press them, drop them in there. My pair of tweezers, I'm just going to kind of go into the center and press it down to the paper. Just kind of open them up a little bit so they look a little bit more natural, not all squeezed together like that. Okay, so that is going to be my focal flower. I have my little branch here. I'm just using my fingers to give each leaf a little bit of dimension and place them. I'm not, let's see, now I have my holly leaves. And that. And then I have all of the pine needle branches that right now I only have one cut apart, but I think I need to get them all separate so it's easier for me to go ahead and build the arrangement. And I gotta just kind of give them a little bit of shape with my fingertips. Same thing with this one. So that's a total of 3 branches that I have right now that I'm cutting apart to build this arrangement. Those, and then I have these little branches that I thought they would look cute. Will be a good addition to the arrangement. So I think I'm going to put them, and then some little white flowers here and there. Okay, so let's go ahead and glue these branches down to start building the arrangement. Once I have see how that looks. Then all these will be additionally okay. So I think that's good. Let's place. Let's glue down the branches. I'm just doing a little bit of glue at the base, and then putting them, placing them. Of course, this area is going to be covered by the flower that flew right out of my fingers. So all of these is going to cover the covered by the flower. I'm just going to put some glue in the center of the flower. And bring the tip of that glue gun there or glue bottle, and then I'm just using my tweezers to kind of press down that center, get it nice and secure to the pad, and down with my leaves I can just put some glue on the base, at the base of each leaf, and tuck them around the flower. So now I have my focal piece of my arrangement. I can just tuck everything else around it like that. Okay. And like that. And I have one more I can put over here. Okay. And let's see, I have so now I have we have all of these little tiny little branches that I want around the whole arrangement, just to kind of bring it all together and give it that feel, more of a feel of a winter flower arrangement. Too long. Okay, and that looks good. So let's go ahead and glue all of these down around the flower and around the other branches and leaves to give it a nice full look to the uh, arrangement. See, I'm just tucking them in here and there just to kind of fill in some of those empty areas so they don't, so it doesn't look like, you have a bald spot here and there. So you have a nice, this one I'm leaving it long because it's going to have to go behind that other branch, and I want it to look like it's got an actual branch all the way coming out. This one over here. I have one more that is not glued. Okay, I think they're all good. Then I have all these little flowers, and I wanted to see how the little white flowers will kind of just here and there to pull the white from the decorative die cut and the white from the center of the big flower. So I just want these little flowers to come in and fill in just a little spot here and there to complete the arrangement. Just kind of going to press them in together, a little bit of glue in the center, and then just kind of tuck them in next to a leaf. See, where else can we put this one? Kind of balance out the arrangement. Okay, and I wanna go ahead and put some red adhesive rhinestones in the centers of those flowers. These are very tiny. They're always kind of annoying to work with because they're so tiny, but they fit perfectly in the center of these flowers, and I just like the little touch of sparkle from the rhinestones, especially for a Christmas themed or holiday themed project. You always kind of need that little bit of sparkle. And they jump everywhere, they stick to the wrong place, but we're almost there. Okay, and I think that is the completed tag number 6. Love how that red flower just jumps at you, and then you have all the green, the red, the white, your classic Christmas color scheme. Well, this is tag number 6, and that completes my first set of projects for this event. I will have another 6 projects in a few days, so please join me for that. Hope you enjoyed them. There'll be full list of materials and pictures of each tag, as well as this video posted. Thank you so much. Until next time, bye.